Yeah. So I'm ready whenever you are, Lara.
Okay, then will you please introduce yourself and let me know a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I'm Simeon Joseph, currently living in beautiful Belize. I've been retired from the bank a few years now, so I'm engaged with Bravo Motors as a sales executive during the day, and in the evenings I'm a karate instructor, and I have students as young as 6, up to 35.
You
So
stay busy for a
yeah.
retired man. All right. You've known my husband for many years. You've had a lot of experiences with him. Will you please share with us your first experience from, I'll call it the spiritual side, way different than your regular friendship that you have with him?
Okay, if I could briefly say, can I, like you said, go back a long time, all the way back to third grade. So that's how far back we go. And all these years, I didn't realize that he had this special gift. Um, so I was very pleased to know that he had it when I found out about him. Found out about it. I must say, first, I've always confided in him, so there was no challenge in actually reaching out to him for any type of assistance. And on reflection, I'm thinking that it's probably through you that I realized that I think you shared at one point that he's now a healer. I think it's through you, if my memory serves me right. And then that was followed up by a form. Is it an authentication form whereby I would give you permission for him to do work on my behalf?
A
So
consent
that
form.
a consent form. And I must say, when I got the consent form, I went through the consent form in details, and it had a condition there that the healing could mean even death. So that kind of put me on pause a bit. I said, "Wow, I'm not ready to depart this planet as yet." So I am not sure about the section of this consent form. So it took me a while to come to grips with what it meant, and
Uh,
I finally signed off on it. So I signed off and I transferred it to you, and then that is where it began. So
and you
one,
do understand that bottom part where it could result in death is for terminal cases only, right?
I found it out afterwards, but even before finding that out, I still signed it because I know that my brother would not send me something. I would sign something that would be detrimental to my physical health. So with that, I signed off on it. It was because of the contacts I had with you and him. And thereafter, it started. I'm not sure how long ago that was, um, but I must say, um, I've had some issues, many challenges, I must say, and I've reached out to you and Ken to assist me with it. In some cases, it has to do with firstly physical, from my physical side, whereby I would get up in the morning and not feel right, and I know that I should feel better. In the past, I would take some type of medication to alleviate that condition, and I found out through you and Ken from the spiritual side that these things actually start in the spiritual side, and then it slowly manifests itself on the physical side. So when I reach out to you and Ken, I get attention from the spiritual side, and I find out that there's no need for any medication. So, and I actually know when the work is done. Sometimes before you even send me a text or a message saying that work has been completed, I begin to feel a difference already. So I know work has been done, and it's a wonderful experience. And I think at times words are not enough to explain how I feel about the results. So,
Okay.
uh,
Now, I know before this more intense work, I'll call it, where my husband has been doing clearing work and healing work for individuals, you had received guidance in the past, and you continue to receive guidance. Do you have any examples of each of those you can share?
what happens is that there are many examples I can share from the guidance perspective, because what happens is that many times I would go into business and then I would have my own view of how things should go and how things should turn out. So I would go and pursue those based upon my my thinking. But I found out when you seek guidance, it's a whole different ballgame. You know, you get to you approach it differently. There's a different sense of confidence when you approach the business person in doing a transaction, and you know that your guidance is from the spiritual side. So it helps. More recently, I must say, I had a case whereby there was a gentleman who presented a business proposal to me, or a business idea to me. So, but based upon how I do business, I questioned doing business with that person. So I said, should I do business with this person? So I personally would have said no. So I reached out to Ken through you and sought guidance on the matter. And he said, yes, you can go ahead and do business with a gentleman, but be aware that there'll be some challenges. And these are the types of challenges that you'll face. I must say, it was very on point. The person, we continued to discuss business, and the challenge was exactly what was identified or stated by Ken through guidance. It was exactly so. Because of that guidance, I continued to entertain the business idea from the gentleman, because I had been forewarned, this is what you'll experience. And it's exactly what I experienced. So the thing, though, is that, like I said, it actually presented that person, doing business with that person presented a business opportunity which would not have been there had I not spoken with him. So that is one. Okay.
Got it.
So two, a more recent one is Belize has 2 parcels of land. So he said, okay, this is all I want for it, but you could price it according to what you think it's worth. So I went to you and Ken and sought guidance on the price that I should present the property for, or that I should expect from the sale of the property. So I got it. So that's the figure I'm working with. Then what happens is that in a subsequent meeting with the owner of the property, he said, Simeon, properties in that area were sold for X amount of dollars. So it's actually in a range, a little more than, it's in a range that we're talking about that I got guidance on. So it is something to say that although the person wants a small amount for the property or a minimal amount, he knows what the value is. So he gave me permission to price it what the value should be, and the difference would be mine. So
that's nice.
And what happens is that he even called the names of some companies who were inquiring into properties in that area. So he also he raised ideas in my head. So I was able to reach out to some of the people that he mentioned. So in addition to asking me to sell the property, he actually gave me sales leads to get the property sold. So it's just
sounds
so
like
wonderful.
It worked out really nicely.
So wonderful. Yeah. Also, in addition to that, this person owns several properties, and sometimes he loses track of where exactly one is, but he has a general idea as to where it is located. Now, the one in an area called Santa Cruz, he said, Simeon, I don't need to go down there. This is where it's located. So I spoke to a store owner next to the property. I said, so who owns that property next door? He said, the same gentleman. So I said, good. So I'll take some photos. So I'll begin my marketing campaign. Then I reached out to one of the same names. Because of a name he called, I reached out to another business person. So he said, I'll be interested, but I need the map. So I sent him the map. And then he came back to me and said, okay, now I need the location map. Now the location map tells you where the property is in relation to other properties in the area.
Oh, all right.
So I went to my surveyor, and then I got the location map. Now what happens is that from the location map, it actually showed me that the property that he thought was his isn't his. His property, and I'm thinking this is the work of the ascended master. So his property is more in the village than he thought it was. Now, what that means is that It's a more ideal property for any business person to acquire. One, two,
Okay.
any person that would decide to purchase it would be happier paying the price that we're looking for. So that is how that worked out. Yeah.
In a very interesting
Very
way.
interesting.
That's amazing.
I am yet to reach the landowner and say, you know what, this is my discovery, because it just happened on the weekend, Friday to be exact. Yes. So I'll tell him this is what I found out because of some of the things we discussed.
Wow.
So
What a fun way to do business, in my opinion.
it is a different way. I keep saying that, I'm reminded that because of the connection, we're like, meaning human, but we're different in that we have a different kind of connection. We have the connection to this through you and Ken to the spiritual side, and then we get guidance from, which some serious guidance, I must call it that. Yeah. And there's also one whereby we're dealing with a hotel property on behalf of somebody in the U.S. And we're finding out that through the guidance that many things can happen if you don't seek guidance. For example, there are things that we don't think about from our side, and then when we seek guidance, we realize that we need to look at it from different angles, and the person that we're dealing with might be pursuing different ways of benefiting from the property. So we've gotten guidance in that respect, and we have some work to do on the ground to assist the lady that owns the property. So that also comes through the guidance as well. So that's from the business side.
Now,
so in a nutshell, please go ahead, Laura.
I was going to say, you've been talking about real estate, and you had mentioned about the car dealership that you work with. So you also do this real estate. And have you been able to use this? Have you been able to use this guidance as well, or anything in the car dealership side?
I must say no, Laura. And what happens is that sometimes I forget that I have this access to this to this other source. I must admit that. So I really haven't. It is something I intend to pursue for as long as I'm there. I intend to reach out to you and Ken and see how it would work from that side. But I really haven't used it on the dealership side. Yeah.
All right.
What I do sometimes is I would just say a short prayer, say, Saint Germain, assist me with this discussion, and I would make the call. Or again, it happened more like, let's say, when I was making the calls to those potential customers over last week. I made the call to Saint Germain, thanking him for assisting with the communication. So, and I'm certain that all of this came to be because of the request I made, or the thank you that I gave him before starting. So
indeed, because as soon as you call upon them, they're there to help you. So that's exciting to hear as well, that you are implementing the different things you've been learning and making sure that it helps you with what you are supposed to accomplish. So you've talked about some healing work that's done when you're not feeling well, and some guidance work. Go ahead.
Please go ahead, Laura.
I was going to say, is there anything else you'd like to add, or any other information that you'd like to share?
What happens is that would the clearing work be also healing at the same time? I know. After I'm cleared, I feel healed. I know that. But in addition to that, I had a medical challenge a couple of years ago, and what happens is that because of the medical challenge, I've been taking like 3 different kinds of medication for about the past 2 years. So I shared that with you and Ken. I think I spoke directly to Ken about.
Yes. So because this is new to me, so that you must talk directly with him.
Yeah. So I spoke that was on one of the occasions I spoke directly with him. So I shared that with him. So what he said, he was going to do some healing work. Some healing work has been done. So as a result of the healing work, I will no longer need to take those medications. So that's wonderful news as well, because I've been taking them for 2 years. What happens is that I will phase out my, I will slowly phase out my medication. So then I'll take it from there. So it's wonderful news to know that I will no longer need it, and I know that what I've been told is very accurate. So there's no ifs, buts, or maybe about that. So
I'm
that's
glad to hear that.
And what happens too is that even like on the family side, like let's say if you have issues with relationships, that is another area that I've sought guidance on, because I try to live a very peaceful and calm life, avoid conflicts as much as possible. So, but despite the fact that that effort exists, those challenges have still come my way. So, as a result, I've reached out to Ken through you to seek guidance on some relationship issues as well. And there was one in particular whereby I had this person that I had some business interaction, and everything was going well. Then afterwards, some things began to sour. So what happens is that I was unsure as to how to approach it. So I then shared that with you to Ken through you, that how do I deal with this? So the person had written me. So I said, how do I respond to this person? So I was guided that, okay, say my prayer, and then the thank you prayer to Saint Germain, then proceed to respond to the person. I did that, and I remember being cautioned. Ken told me that it should be positive, and if there's anything negative, then that's you, right? Meaning me, being
Okay.
negative in the correspondence or communication. So I said that, I responded to the person, and normally he would reply almost immediately. I sent it off an evening, and then it wasn't until about 16 hours, almost a full day after, that he replied. So I said, do I read this? So I said to myself, do I read this response, or do I just leave it alone? So I just caught the top portion. I said, okay, I don't think I need to read this, or I should not read this. That's what I thought to myself. So I left it unread. And then, but with my phone prior to that, it's been asking me to update my WhatsApp program, and I've not been doing it. Or I didn't do it because I know I didn't have space on my phone for an update. So this time I couldn't do anything without updating my WhatsApp. Right? So I had to clear. So I said, you know what? I just have to see what I can do here. So I proceeded to update WhatsApp, and it updated, fortunately. In the update, I got back all the communication I had before. I got it back in WhatsApp, but the communication from that particular individual disappeared.
Oh,
that didn't come through the update at all. So I said,
wow.
that was further communication. That was further guidance for me, confirmation that there was no response needed with that particular communication. So that I found, wonderful, So, yeah. So,
you have some very interesting stories and experiences. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I want to share that, I've been looking at the videos that you've been posting on YouTube, but I go through it through a private group that we have, and I find them to be extremely interesting. They're very good, Actually, when I don't see a posting, I begin to miss it. And I must say that the techniques that are shared, I've tried them, and the results are pretty interesting also. I'll save the details for another video, okay?
Oh.
But they're very interesting, and they're you just need to be calm, and you just are trusting that all will be well with the exercise, and you go from there. So I must say they're very interesting, and continue to do what you've been doing, Laura, you and Ken. I'm thinking that eventually this will reach out to more people, and then more people realize what access we have, or what access is available to all of us, and then we go from there. We've been taught for too long that this is the only life we live, or we have to live, and we've been learning otherwise, and there's proof. There's available proof to confirm that. So,
Yes.
I hope that more people become uh, more acceptable to this, and then we'll have more people to share it with. Yeah. So again, I want to thank you, Laura, for this opportunity.
Well, and thank you
if
for
you have any
taking
question,
time out of
please
your
let me
day to
know.
talk with us.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm ready whenever you are, and when there's time for another interview, please let me know, and I'll be ready as well. Thanks again, Laura. You and Ken.
Sounds
Before we
Thank you
close,
so much. You have a
before we
wonderful
close, Laura,
day.
I want to tell you, I want to extend my personal gratitude to you and Ken for your time and patience. Sometimes I feel, I don't want. Sometimes I wonder if I don't want to feel like I'm bothered sometimes, but I still reach out, and then I get assistance from you and Ken, and it makes the day lighter, to be honest. Once you've been cleared in the mornings, it's just the day just progresses very nicely thereafter. So I must say I'm extremely fortunate to be able to know you and Ken, and to get the kind of assistance that from the spiritual side through both of you. So again, I want to say a sincere thanks to both of you.
And you're welcome. Thank God for that. And that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you again soon.
I'm looking forward to that, Laura. Have a wonderful day.